Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, today, the 12th November 2013, we are going to start the 10th talk in our series. May everyone settle down and may give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Tasseva kopana pubbhe avidassuno upadi honti samanta samadhinna. Tyasa pahina honti uchinna mula talavattu kata anabhava kata ayating anupada dhammati. Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, so far we have spent 10 talks to come up to this juncture, and now with the help of the understanding so far and the direct knowledge received so far, Buddha is going to give then and their benefits, or then and their own understanding, own measurements one can do, and this is a very radical kind of a reflection, or in the sense to show the reciprocal relationship within oneself can understand. And at the beginning, anyone who comes to this spiritual quest with the understanding of the friction in the day-to-day life, or with the frustration, mental tension and neurosis, and therefore inclined to do away with the sensuous pleasure and later sensuous perception, and take refuge of a materialistic object, or rupa kammatthana, and then try to calm it down and make it more and more subtler. And once developed to the utmost subtlety, it's a kind of a gradual training, not without any impediments, but each and every impediment, one has to take a critical decision towards this relinquishment. And when and where one is ready to accept this relinquishment and this technique, and to go more and more into the depth of subtlety, it takes time, and with that time, there's a kind of a reshuffling, a reconsideration, and a reorientation going to take place. So this one can understand within, as well as whenever you are interacting with the society, whenever you are interacting with the nature, that is also reflecting. So, in order to show this kind of a reflection, healthy growth, and feedback from the society, and the feedback from one's own values, and the feedback from the nature, that is very easy for a sensitive person. So that is a very important part one has to understand under one's own very nose and in this very life. So even though it is not the supreme, and even though it is not the theoretical maximum, easily these things one can understand. So that is why the Buddha says, Tasseva kopana pubbhe avidassuno. Before the meditation, you had the ignorance, and with that ignorance, you were chasing behind, acquiring knowledge, possessions, relatives, and all the kind of worldly things. And these possessions made so much of problems, and you sacrifice so much of thing, is all these possessions and the acquisition, Buddha put into the one word, upadi. Upadi means that what is necessary for you to live in this existence, in the economical point of view, in the social point of view, in the political point of view. And in order to make assurance, in order to have the certainty, what the kind of suffering, what the kind of agony you went through, and so you can reflect upon them, that your own possession, your own acquisition, and you understand that how much it possessed and obsessed your mind up to this point, till you develop certain amount of mindfulness, and through the mindfulness, when and where you try to see the value of solitude, the value of freedom, the value of peace of mind, then you see how much you have earned. Everything work in the negative way. Therefore, Venerable Katukunde Jnanananda Thero used to say, all your credit will be debit in long run. But everything what you earn will be utter nonsense, utter friction, utter difficult thing to get rid of. So therefore, your reconsideration, your values towards your likings and disliking, your judgmental, value judgment, everything you can see once you come up to a certain development in the mindfulness, and when and where you are to appreciate this solitude, when and where you are to appreciate this peace of mind and the freedom, and there you can look back and see, before one get this kind of understanding, our whole game was to accumulate as much as possible political powers, or power to will, and the will to power, will to power, and to gain economical positions and social status. And now, when you are looking at it, understand how much you have spent, how much, what kind of agony, what kind of torturing, and how you justified your endeavorance without any concern about the other parties, without any concern about the nature, without any concern about others liking and disliking. That is the survival of the fittest. So that keep on. Now, with the help of meditation, and of course with the help of your own experience and your own maturity, you can understand. Then onward, you see now the real change is, now your real yardstick is not the possessions, not the acquisition, but the freedom, but the peace of mind, but the solitude. If it is happened, your attachment to these possessions and the acquisition naturally gone off, ochinamula, and eradicated, uprooted. Uchinamula means uprooted. And Talavattu Kata is like a cut-off stump of the palm tree, because palm tree has only one meristem. If it is damaged, it will never grow. And just like the stump. And then Anabhava Kata, you made it not to arise again, that this is the way it is happening. So now onward, the Buddha says, when that kind of a real change, or that kind of a reconsideration happens, tasma evan samannagato bhikkhu, whenever a person come up to that level, imina paramena chagadithanena samannagato hoti. He feel like sharing, not only the materialistic thing, and he feel like sharing his solitude, his peace of mind, and his freedom with all the people. So this is the kind of generous or generosity or sharing with others backed by the knowledge. Earlier, when you come into the spiritual life, also you should have certain amount of generosity or donations and sharing with others. And with that only you stepped into the moral training. And from that only you stepped into the concentration training. And from that only you stepped into the wisdom training. Once you gain certain amount of wisdom through mindfulness, again you reinvest that very wisdom, not only at the Sila Samadhi Panya or moral training, concentration training and the wisdom training, even at your generosity. So it is the natural way it happens. So therefore, earlier in our Buddhist books, it generally says Sila Samadhi Panya, that is for the meditators, but for the Buddhists, it says Dana Sila Bhavana. That means first the generosity, and then the moral training, and then meditation. And now that very wisdom training, once it come up to a certain maturity, it is reinvest on the generous action that is not propelled by someone. That is not due to the fear on the nether world or hell. It is not to show others that I am a philanthropist, I am with so much of feeling for others, but this is a natural outcome. So for moralist kind of people, this connection they can't understand. They think only the generous action and the moral training lead to concentration and wisdom. They can't understand, again this wisdom is going to give a reconsideration on one's own generous action and the moral responsibility. So therefore, even at the beginning, they don't have, even if they have no much of generosity as a character, no with much of moral restrainment, they can start meditation. And once the meditation gets the momentum, definitely again they get a chance to be generous. Of course, this is not to show others and kind of thing. This is a reciprocal thing is happening. So, moralists or Buddhism never see this reciprocal part, but Dhamma is working both linear way as well as in the reciprocal way. So, this is very interesting, specifically if the Buddhism, I would say not the Buddhism, Buddha Dhamma, to spread into the Western countries or to go into the other religions, traditional Buddhists, they may say, they are not qualified to meditate because they are not generous. They have no moral restrainment, and if you are to go and explain the third precepts, the sexual misconduct, you have to have seminars to tell them what is the conduct and what is the misconduct. It is like if you are going to teach the monkeys the sexual conduct and the misconduct, they will say it's nonsense. But exactly the same in the West. Because they have lost their, most of the people, moral values, so difficult to understand. But even then, at the outset, even if they are not ready to accept it, even if they are not generous by their culture, their upbringing, still one can introduce meditation, and that does not indicate 100% success. But there may be a proportion, percentage people, once develop certain amount of mindfulness. And I would say not only the mindfulness with clear comprehension, that is to say not only the sati, but sati sampajanya, again that sati sampajanya will be reinvested for someone to re-establish the moral responsibilities, restrainment of faculties, and accept the moral rules and the precepts and their concentration and wisdom will be double dose with the booster dose, and again they will develop the concentration and wisdom. Again that very concentration and wisdom going to give propellants, going to be catalytic effect or momentum to their generosity and the moral restrainment. So that is very interesting. So therefore, when I come to Nissarana Vanaya, or before coming, simply I had no any concern about the generosity or any moral behavior. Because I was a shoplifter, skillful, and I was very happy. I had a different collection, how to lift things from the shops and from the libraries and for exhibitions. That is what I was asking anyone, what is wrong with it? Because it is my collection, my hobby, still I am happy. And then as far as the moral conditions or precepts are concerned, I told, not necessary. I am maximizing my pleasure with a fair way or unfair way. Never mind. And therefore I was arguing any person, those who are going to teach me about this morality or kind of social norms and kind of thing. But you won't believe I am a good boy. Everyone says I am very good. But I have a different role in the daytime and another role in the night time. I very quite balanced, and my close by friends are really appreciating it because they know who am I. But still people say I am a very good boy and very docile and all the kind of thing. So therefore I had no any idea about develop meditation because I know I am disqualified because I am cheating myself, I am cheating society, I am cheating the everything. So even then I am happy. And accidentally only, Venerable Dhammika, I had an argument with him. Then he told that the Sri Lankan people, traditional Buddhists, they are claiming we are in Dhammajiva and we are the people spread the Dhamma to the world and kind of thing, but still we don't know the basic teaching of the Buddha. Then I told, how can you tell me like that? And I am born Buddhist and I am brought up in the Buddhist background and all that. So he tells, you don't know the mindfulness. You don't know the diligence. Then I told, I don't know, but I am still a Buddhist. I am a qualified Buddhist, authentic because in my birth certificate also. So, but he again and again told that still you are not qualified. Then I told Bhante, please remember, I have no regard for any generous action. I have no regard for any precepts. I am maximizing my pleasure, that's all. So therefore I am not qualified to do any meditation. He told, this is your second idiotness, foolishness. Without any generosity, without any precepts, you can start meditation. So we had a very fierce argument till it is not. But that is, I respect him. He merely argued and told, it is my adamant nature, but even without generous action, even without the precepts, you can start it. Then I threat him, I challenge him not. Then he told, no, you read it, this is the way it happens. So once you develop mindfulness, of course he never revealed that at the beginning, you will understand what is the necessity of precepts. Otherwise what you do is just following the suit, following the traditional precepts. But you have to understand why the precepts are necessary. That has to come from within. So it was a quite an awkward, it was a kind of a irrational, unconventional kind of thing. And when I am going through, ultimately I told that you are very friendly with me, very close with me, and you are really arguing and you are not denying anything. So therefore, without giving any consent to the consideration to the general action, without giving any consideration for any precepts. If you tell that I am qualified, I am happy to start mindfulness. But definitely I will confess, I had no any mindfulness in sitting, but I was fairly somewhat successful mindfulness in day-to-day activities. So I started with the day-to-day activities, not in a formal way. So while I keep on practicing, one day I wanted to give up smoking. I was so happy. Because of course I had a phlegm problem and therefore smoke was not so tasty. So I wanted to give up and I to make a decision. I went to him and told, Bande, I am very happy. I thank you very much. I am going to stop smoking. So what? What is this? Then I told, I will not smoke. No, you have to smoke continuously. Because now you are going to do with your own will. No, that is no good. And again you will start. So do smoking mindfully. And it was like a completely awkward and contradictory. Then I told Bhante, I am a lay person at that time. I am a lay person and you are a monk. How can you recommend a lay person to smoke? No, I am telling you, this stoppage of smoking is artificial. You are doing with the emotional bearing. But I wish you to stop it by seeing, by the natural course. Then I told, still I can't do smoking. Never mind, I am telling you, you will one day start again. Because now you are doing with the emotion. So, it was a very relief for me. Even late I had 1 or 2 cigarettes. I have no any guilt because he predicted. But somehow the others stopped. And then again, I went to him and told, but I feel some kind of a difference in me, therefore, I wish to get ordained. You, to get ordained, next day you will destroy. I can predict you. I know your mind. Then I told Bhante that you are always crossing and blocking. Whatever I am going to do, I come and tell it to you as your spiritual teacher. I expect kind of a seconding of my thing. But you are completely arguing with me. No. He gave me a criterion to say, you have to develop the meditation up to the point whether you become a monk or not, we must feel equal. That is the day you must renunciate. Then I found, no, I find a very big difference. I think if I am going to be a monk, it's emotionally and it is good thrilling feeling, then you know that is not the idea of becoming a monk. You have to develop the situation up to the point where becoming a monk or not becoming a monk must be equal in the way. Then I told, I find very difficult, but I like the way you argue. And keep on, then he used to share with me as much as possible. And while he keep on going, I just wanted to, earlier I was an immoral person, and wanted to do morality in an unexposed way, in a hidden way to myself. Trying my best not to do any kind of that type of thing. And even I did not mention to him. And when it is happening again and again, I found whether the Venerable Dhammajiva is teaching his own personal views or whether it is the teaching of the Buddha. When I come to the Nissarana, and once I became a monk, Venerable Jnanarama, the preceptor, he quoted the Sati Sampajanya Sutta, exactly explained the commentary for this statement. Sati Sampajanya Sutta, it is, you find in the, I think, Attaka Nipata in Anguttara Nikaya, the gradual sayings, it says, Sati Sampajanyam bhikkhave asati, Sati Sampajanyam vipannasa, hatopanisang hoti hirottappa. The Buddha says, any person who do not have any mindfulness and the clear comprehension, for him, moral shame and moral fear is unfounded. He can't think about it. So therefore, any person who do not develop the mindfulness and the clear comprehension, they can't feel what does it mean by the healthy shame and the healthy fear, or moral shame and the moral fear. So once you develop the mindfulness and the clear comprehension only, you feel, so to say, social intelligence or social intuitive nature, but where I am and what are the values, what are the liking and disliking of the people, you start to feel once you become once you become mindful and the clear comprehension. When and where you are not mindful, when and where you are not clear in comprehension, whatever you do is mere act, mere show off, mere pose. Once you become the mindful and clear comprehension, you feel what the other people's likings and dislikings, their cultural values. And therefore you know, even though it is not my will, it is my liking and disliking, as a respect to the majority, I must abide by the moral shame and the moral fear. So otherwise, the Buddha says the basic for the moral shame and fear is absent if you do not have the mindfulness and the clear comprehension. And then he continues, when whoever may be the person who has no any basis for moral shame and the moral fear, he can't think about the restrainment of faculties. It is out of his subject. So because the moral shame and the moral fear is the proximate cause for one to develop the restrainment of the faculties. And so therefore the person who has no any moral shame and the moral fear, or healthy shame and the healthy fear, they have no any control, they can't understand why one must be restraining faculties. And anyone who do not have any restrainment faculties, Buddha says, virtues, sila, is unfounded. Because the sila based upon the restrainment of faculties. So this is happening in a chain action. When and where you become more mindful and with clear comprehension, it gives rise, the basis for one to become moral shame and moral fear. Once one is responsible morally to the people, or intuitive knowledge to the social values, then only one can have a restrainment of faculties, it is coming within. Once the restrainment of faculties, that particular person only be a moral person, and that morality going to give us so much of rapture. Because he or she knows, I am not making friction to the society, I am not making any disturbance to the nature, I am not violating the social norms, and therefore I am not accumulating unwanted karmic forces. So that happiness, that contentment, or that satisfaction, never you get by sense pleasure. You can think about. I am telling you with my experience. I have the sense pleasure. I am now in the moral kind of integrity. So I have both, I think more than you people, those who are listening. Because I have gone to that extreme, you won't believe. As an immoral person, who am I? Or who Dhammajiva is. And whenever I come to this side also, you know that I am in a Nissarana and we are maintaining so much of forest tradition and kind of thing. Everyone accepts there's a kind of a the monastic code. So, if you are to experience it, recently one of my batchmates make a remarkable statement. He told only mindfulness and the meditation work only people like me, vagabonds, and how to call those who have violated the moral rules are really understand what the Buddha is teaching. Not the disciplined people. The disciplined people run by morality, it is bias. You will be a moralist, you will never go to Nibbana. I can cite Chandasoka became Dhammasoka. Duttagamini became the best king in Sri Lanka. And Angulimala became the most prestigious arahant in the sasana. So therefore you are too late to be immoral now. You will be very proud and say, you are very moral people. So I don't have any good or bad feeling upon that. I have equanimity for that. Because without understanding two extremes, you never assimilate the middle path. So therefore, don't look down, or at least don't look down your immoral past, if at all. With respect to that immoral past only, you understand moral responsibilities. Otherwise, it is mere theory. It is mere you are just satisfying other people. So therefore, any person born in this world cannot claim total morality. And many people are frustrated. And in the Christianity and the God believer, they have the so-called guilt, ancestral guilt, original sin. So you are completely in that. But in Buddhism, the guilt is never used. There is no synonym in Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan language for the guilt. Because we people don't know. We know the punya, apunya, meritorial deeds and immoral, non-meritorial deeds, and skillful and unskillful. No guilt as such. These are terms we are implanted in Sri Lankan language, but there is no proper translation. We have the remorse, and that is called Atitana Dhavanam Chittam Vikkhopana Paritam, Vikshopa in Sri Lankan, but the guilt is not been properly translated. Therefore, what is the point I am going to make is, according to the theism, if you have committed the mistake, you are destined to eternal hell, no new chance. Buddha says, even if you committed a crime, you get another chance. You can reconsider, that you have to appreciate. That's a core theory, core teaching of Metta Bhavana. You have to sympathize yourself. Whenever you sympathize yourself only, you can sympathize another person. You can sympathize another sinner. Those who are angry with one's own behavior, one's own features, one's own kind of thing, their mind is ever in a burning and torturing kind of thing. For them, we can't expect any kind of a loving kindness. So you have to understand how to confess, how to sympathize your past. And otherwise, what is the use of Buddha? What is the use of Dhamma? What is the use of becoming yogi? What is the use of these precepts? So if you are going to take precepts as a yardstick to measure the people, that is what I call moralist. That is the starting point for sectarianism. So don't try to use it. Instead, see your past and see your present. And with the same line, if you are going to proceed, if you can predict, you will be a person who have more and more consideration for moral shame and moral fear. Even if you are an immoral person in the present moment, everything excused. And if you are going to be a future, the Buddha has one character, Purusha Dhammasarati. He is the best tamer of the tameable people. So we are subject to his character. So even the Buddha has the great passing away, the momentum, the training of the trainable people happening through, because you can sympathize your past and understand to start meditation, no basic needs as such. Basic qualifications as such. Everyone is qualified. And you have no authority to say you are qualified and you are not. Because we are also subjected. So therefore mindfulness or meditation is no one's authority. No one can give a guideline telling you can't practice mindfulness, you can practice mindfulness, or you will be a success case, you are a failure. It's ever changing. So therefore, when and where you are to understand, unless otherwise you have no mindfulness and the clear comprehension, sati sampajanya, your behavior, your moral behavior is irresponsible. Even though you wish to be a civilized person, even if you wish to be a cultured person, even if you wish to be a gentle person, impossible. You can whitewash yourself. You can put on the pedestal and whitewashing, but never give any kind of a internal real change. But internal real change is possibility. We can do it, but if it is to happen, it must be backed by panya. It must be backed by wisdom. That is not the Buddha's wisdom, that is your own wisdom. You earn through your ways and means. Therefore, even a very little bit of mindfulness you develop, and even the little bit of your clear comprehension, look at the breath and your sitting posture. It is a single step but a long journey. So if you are maximizing that telling, that's giving me a complete new chance to reconsider myself. Whatever may be the person, who am I, the present moment, that can be changed. Earlier they thought our personality traits are fixed by the age 6, then onward it cannot be changed. Because our nervous system come up to the maturity, after the 6 they found development happens, growth happens, then onward it considered as a hardwire circuit. But about 10, 15, maybe less than 10, 15 years ago, they came to know the term neuroplasticity. Even if you thought that it is hardwired circuit, now train your mind and change your brain. Become a motto. If you are ready to train your mind, you can rewire your heart circuit in the brain. So therefore, any capacity or any skillfulness, any kind of thing you have foregone, it's never gone forever. You can again have a fresh chance and you will be reborn. That is what we call born-again Buddhism. That easily we can say, you can give a new chance. It is like when you are in the card games, 52 cards are there. You shuffle it and distribute again, and you get a new hand. And again, next time you shuffle it and get a new hand, mental factors also 52. And if you wish to reshuffle and share, next your hand will be different. Not only after the death, but each and every moment, each and every breath, each and every in-breath, each and every out-breath, each and every left-right, left leg, each and every right leg. It's a new hand. But we are so stereotyped. We are so in a rut. We are so in our liking and disliking. We are not happy to, we are not ready to see the fresh next moment. That is because of upadi. That is because of your possessions. That is because your acquisition, thinking that is very important, and they shape your likings and disliking. So when more and more you develop mindfulness, specifically when you are developing the clear comprehension, you can see you are again and reconsidering and reshuffling your value system, likings and disliking, personality trait, and your habitual behavior. So therefore, you feel the present moment decides the next moment going to happen. Not that this time, all the time you have a fresh chance. Not only as a young, the toddlers, even the elderly people can understand, have a hope, have a positive thinking, that these things can be reshuffled, that the plasticity is there. So therefore, when and where you are developing this little bit of mindfulness or consistency, or a little bit of clear comprehension, you will understand it is contributive, whether you like it or not, to your moral shame and the moral fear. And more you develop, if you know this fact, this theory, not only that you see your sensitivity to the moral responsibilities are increasing, you have to promote it by associating more and more cultured people, those who are sensitive to the moral responsibility. That is the way you give a conducive condition, you facilitate this frictional part. Otherwise, if you are expecting everything to happen by meditation, your progress will be low. So therefore, while practicing, you have to associate more and more people as moral integrity, moral responsibilities, and healthy shame and the healthy fear. And when it is developed, you find your restrainment of faculties have a little challenging, and otherwise you will be exposed to wider range and you are in trouble. So when and where you are associating with the cultured people, of course you can't do away with challenges, of course you can't do away with the hardships, but it comes within the narrow range on the experimental ground, just like in laboratory, and then you can see, even though senses are unruly, even though senses are bewildered, under certain circumstances, you can take little under control. When and where you are restraining your faculties, the Buddha says, Chakkuna Rupandiswa, whenever you see visual objects by your eye, Yatvadi karna metang asangutang virantang uppatiti papaka akusala dhamma tassa sangvaraya apajjati. That is the sangvara. You are still, there are no more, not yet any defilement already arisen. But you know this way that you are observing and desiring this visual object, in no time, defilements may come. So you are concerned about already unarisen defilements. That is, what does it mean by restrainment of faculties? So therefore mindfulness is guarding you, telling that now you are about to fall into a trap. You are in the inclination towards the defilement, so now your eye is the door, the visual object is the object for the moment. With this connection, more either desire or hatred can come. That means liking or disliking. Manapa, amanapa. Manapa means liking, amanapa means dislike. So, as far as you are going to manapa or amanapa, you are in trouble. The unarisen defilement is about to happen. And then your way out is have manapa, that means no pleasure, no fire, no pain kind of attitudes to what you see. And if that is happening, what you see appear to be pale, disinterested, boring, monotonous, and no much of motivation to look at it again and again. If there is any kind of a motivation, any desire to have that the visual object, that means you are promoting desire, you are promoting conceit, you are promoting self-centered ideas. So, restrainment of faculties means you are concerned about not the already arisen defilements, you are concerned unarisen defilements. So therefore, it is easy to nip it at the bud level. Once it's grown, you have to have an axe to cut. So before you become a mindful person, before you give any thought about clear comprehension, you find already grown branches or trees, so you need a lot of axe and the saws and all the kind of to get rid of. Now you get a chance to say, now the saplings are growing. If you see them as it is, you can just nip it at the bud level. So therefore, when compared with your past, now there is a methodology, there is a conducive conditions for you to nip it at the bud level. So you have to take this advantage, not to arise, not to give a chance for these unarisen defilements to arise. So then and there you find, if you are vigilant, if you are diligent, and to see the developing defilements or defilements at the primordial form, that's a war already won. And nothing to fight and win, you can repeat at the body level. And that is in a disadvantageous way for a person who do not develop mindfulness and a clear comprehension. For them, it's a huge task. Because it is already developed by the time he or she understands it. But if you have the mindfulness and the clear comprehension, you can see just arising desire, arising hatred, arising bewilderment, just like the arising in-breath, the arising out-breath. Arising in-breath and out-breath is something materialistic, but even then it is not very obvious. It is not very conspicuous unless otherwise you focus, you advert, you be mindful at the beginning, at the materialistic level or corporeal level, and exactly the same thing you can understand if your senses are unruly, bewildered, they are making rooms for so much of defilement to arise. And then by listening, by smelling, by tasting, by touch. And each and every one, the ear, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, is not easily satiable. It's never satiable. It is always asking more and more. So your prime task was to give more visual objects, different shapes and the colors, more sounds, more smelling, more tastes, delicacies, and more luxuries and comfort, little more than the neighbor. That is the task. And there you find, never it can be achieved. But instead now you generally come back to utility value. And one has to be, you have to develop, you have to understand the danger of the moralist viewpoint, because moralists will say, don't look at pictures, don't listen to anything, or don't listen to any, go for the smelling and tasting and touching. Because our senses need certain amount of visual objects for the brain to function and to understand I am not dead. There should have a certain amount of sounds for the brain to maintain the balance. And of course, the ear is the place it is making the physical balance. Therefore, ear must be working. And the smell, for the dogs and other kind of thing, they are getting a lot of information from smell. And the tasting and the bodily tactile sensation. One day I can remember, I read a book telling the scientists experimented with puppies, and they born with the closed eyes. Few days time only they are opening eyes, and knowing that they have kept a batch in a complete darkness, and another batch in the control batch in the normal light. And they monitor the brain development. They found the batch grown in the total darkness, their brain development 40% retarded than the puppies came out with the light. So that means that without the visual objects, without seeing, our brain becomes paralyzed. Therefore, it is not to torture you, but you must be responsible about what you see, not what happen to see. That's also very important. Look and see. What you are looking is intentional. What you are looking is with the will, with the volition. But happen to see, you can't do away with. So here the restrainment is what you are looking at, not what you see. So therefore, in the Mālunkya-Putta Sutta, the Buddha is asking Mālunkya-Putta, one of the very person ordained in the old age, when he's asking for instruction, at the beginning the Buddha denied, ultimately come to this dialogue and the discussion. He says, Mālunkya-Putta, there is a visual object one can see by eye, and that particular person never see, never happen to see, never looking at, he knows it is never, he will look in future also. With this kind of a visual object, will there be any kind of a defilement happen? Then Malakaputra says no. If there are some visual objects, that particular person never see and he is not looking at for the moment and he can't see now, he will not see in the future also. Under such circumstances, they will never create defilement into a stream of consciousness. And only here and now you see that he is the culprit, that he is the only one creating defilements, and within that also, if it is a happening to see, no problem, but you are looking at, that is the part, what you call restrainment of your faculties. And many things come and drop into your eardrum. But hearing and listening, too. Listening is active action, hearing is passive. So whatever coming, and you hear, don't consider this is related to your restraint faculties, but you like to listen. That indicates who you are. And smells, so much of thing happens. But you are with the intention, with the volition, what you are going to feel, smell, that your perfumes and scents and all the kind of thing that you are responsible. Because you go and pay money, this thing and buy it. But instead of that, lot of other, the olfactory senses, it is happening from the society, happening from the day-to-day events, create no problem. It is not accounting for volitional activity, no defilement. And the tastes also, if you have any kind of a particular desire for that taste and this taste, and if you are going to chase behind that and go for cookery classes and cake making and party throwing and all the kind of thing, so very expensive to create defilements. And you have the free of chance if you go on alms rounds, not expensive, people serve what they have and you bring it and eat it. No, instead you can say you are making merits. But when you go home, each and everyone will prepare your own delicacy. And take so much of time because what you hear, eat, what you eat is not so delicate. Because it is cooked 50, 60 people together, and when you are serving, you feel like already not tasty. So therefore you are waiting to go home to have a delicate dinner. And then you can earn so much of defilements. When it is good, still defilement. When it's bad, still defilement. So imagine the way the Buddha told, go on alms rounds, whatever fall into your bowl, cannot be any defilement. And the touch. And present day, you can see how many luxurious chairs and beddings and cars and all the kind of thing. And we have seen these kind of luxuries in early days for the kings and the most rich people. But even now the middle class people easily can reach the so-called luxuries. And they keep on filling their houses. And ultimately, they found once they fill their houses, they are not really using as such. They wanted to have the fridge in the veranda, not in the kitchen. For the visitors to see. That is the way we are developing. And if you do not have cars, you must have 2 garages. So people can understand these are rich people. That is the way it happens. So ultimately you earn it, and then you have no time to use them. Because you are overtime doing work at home, at the office. You have no time to use them. Ultimately, mere maintenance. So they are the utility value is the one, Buddha says, if you wish to be moderate and using the utility value, you see that is giving a very big benefits. The assets will be distributed evenly among the society. Present day economy is devastating. Never give any chance for the people poor. They have to completely depend on the sympathy of the rich people. And they are also human beings. And 90% or more than the wealth controlled by 10% of the population. And 90% of the rest of the people has to share the balance 10%. And you don't know how many people are sleeping without the dinner. Not due to precepts. Don't think they are taking the Vikala Bhojana. They don't have nothing to eat. And imagine about the animal kingdom. How many beings, how many animals are sleeping without anything at their stomach? And still we are talking about grandeur parties, big things, luxuries. So when these things happen, you understand not only that it is losing your control in your senses, but how much social agony, how much social disparity, how much social classes are going to happen. But you never look down. You are always looking, what is the next thing you are going to happen. So therefore, when you become a yogi, of course you are given with a timetable, a kind of a set menu, and the dormitory facilities. So you are compromising. You may wondering why it is being so interpreting terms to yogis. Not to keep you in the open prison camp. That is not the idea. But it's just to give a chance, because otherwise you never try at your home. You feel it's like a deprivation. But here, as a yogi, when you live 7 days in a retreat, it's a credit, it's a good thing for a person more than the person who has not undergone a retreat. And that is how restrainment of faculties happen. So those who miscalculate this thing is a self-torturing. And those who really understand it, it says, this is not a self-torturing and trying and depending on what the others giving and try to live within. And it's a kind of a restrainment of faculties. Under such circumstances, you can't break precepts. The moral conditions are already protected. And whenever you are under such circumstances, mind is not so bewildered and going to sensuous pleasure. It is a certain amount of restrainment. Of course, it is developing irritation, fault-finding and self-criticism, but never go to that kind of a hatred. Maybe a little bit of increasing the sleepiness and the sloth and torpor, but you can, your accountability of your life, and how many hours I can sit, how many hours I can walk, how can things I can be accounted for in day-to-day activities in mindfulness, for the majority is increasing. So therefore this moral shame and the moral fear, restrainment of faculties and the moral code is giving you more and more chances for you to invest more on the concentration training and the wisdom training. So this cycle, which is a big cycle, now we are short cycles, and you can see relationship with each other. So more and more you develop wisdom, less and less will be your ignorance. So therefore, if you are studying 12 way of 12 links of cause and effect relationship, avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya namarupa, that is the way accumulation of merit. Avidyayatte vasesa viraga nirodho, sankhara nirodho, sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho, vijnana nirodha, namarupa nirodho. So when and where you reduce even a little bit of avidya, it is a big positive effect not to create so much of sankhara, not to create so much of volitional mental proliferation. And you know it is something, a habitual thing, leading to a defilement. So you try to keep as much as possible only utility thing. Don't go for luxuries and don't think too much kind of thing. So reduce the volitional activities less and less. And more volitional activities are less and less. Your mind cheating character, the magician, will not be so proliferate. and less the consciousness become tricky, then its creation, its counterpart, Nama-rupa, it's rather within a workable range. It usually won't go beyond your control. And your six senses, and likewise it is going to have a positive effect exactly with respect to the amount of restraint you do, amount of moral integrity you have. So they are connected one to other, and you must not wait till the next life to happen. And within this very life. And therefore, if any one of you wish to understand whether I am progressing or not, look back your morality, that's it. If it is increasing, it's a very good criteria. If it is not, it is just a vicious way. You think you know Vipassana, you have done so much of retreats and you can sit so much of hours and all the kind of thing, but your morality never reconsidered. So therefore, Dhammajiva, Samma Sankappa, these two aspects are considered as the wisdom faculty or wisdom restrainment. And once that Dhammajiva, Samma Sankappa, that means correct view and the correct thinking, then only you can think about correct speech, correct physical activity, and correct livelihood. So after certain amount of certain development of Sammaditi, Samma Sankappa, the correct view or broader view and the broader thinking, if you are not giving a thought about the number of words you are talking, then the meditation is not facilitated. So daily you have to consider how much I facilitate my meditation by restraining words. How much I am facilitating my meditation, doing things in mindful way, or slow way, or in a silent way, and cut off unwanted things. And how much I am concerned about my livelihood. Am I a burden to the other society? Am I exploiting other people? Or I am going to maximize in a justifiable or unjustifiable way? If that is the case, the external sasana and internal sasana, both of them are ruining. Both of them are in erosion. So therefore, this Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, it's an ethical aspect. Not only you, your fellow beings really can understand. And you are, of course, the first witness. And this is the first and foremost criterion and to understand the progress. And instead they think they should have a meter or measuring gadget how much Vipassana knowledge I developed from this 7-day, 14-day retreat with compared to the last retreat. So everyone think till the America making a gadget to measure how much Vipassana knowledge you carry when on the way back home. That very result-oriented idea itself is undermining your moral restrainment, undermining your restrainment of faculties and threatening to your moral shame and the moral fear. Because this is not a supply and demand theory. It's merely not. This is a kind of a investment without expectation back anything. So that, of course, you can say you expect the solitude. You expect the peace of mind or internal pleasure, but not the economical and social thing. So whenever you are trying to see the world from this spiritual point of view, one Catholic father has mentioned, whenever you, as a sentient being, try to develop spirituality, once in a way, in the early part of your spiritual life, you are bound to see the spiritual experience. But after development of certain amount of spirituality, you are basically maintain the stream of consciousness in a moral integrity, certain of concentration, certain amount of mindfulness and clear comprehension. Here and there you find human mistakes. Your own mistake, you feel that is the place you understand, still I am a human. Still I am living. Still I am not dead. Still I am unconscious, not unconscious. So your mistakes are the things to indicate the connection between the past and the present. Because the mistakes are lingering still. But you can see the reducing. So therefore, that very reduction of your mistakes are really going to give a peace to the atmosphere where we are living. So in the Theravada tradition, many says the Theravadins are very selfish. They are talking about their peace of mind. They are talking about their solitude. They are talking about the peace and the pleasure. But the Buddha says, when and where someone is developing this solitude and the peace and the pleasure, they never disturb the society. They never create any uncertainty to the society. They will never create any fear to the society. So therefore society is naturally developing and boosting. But instead, if you are going to do social work and political work and economical work, there is no control, no accounting. So therefore, when and where you are developing moral integrity, that has a direct impact to the society. It says good vibes. When and where your mind become cultured, when and where mind become mindful, and when and where it become clear in comprehension, the kind of a vibration develops. It's become a silent sermon. So therefore, don't worry about whether you are progressing in wisdom, but if you can understand how much you can reinvest your ways and means and the understanding to restrain your faculties and be responsible about the moral shame and the moral fear and the moral code, that is much practical, down-to-earth kind of a criterion, and you are the very first witness. I hope today's Dhamma talk is also helpful for someone to understand that, and wishing that be so, I would like to sum up today's talk. Thank you very much for listening.